the erasure of the Palestinian people in the Gaza Strip and as a whole. And this is the essence of Zionism as a settler-colonial ideology that is premised on the elimination of the indigenous Palestinians to replace them in their land, supported by Western complicity in such atrocity crimes.
Ahmed Abuful, I want to thank you for being with us, and also condolences on the loss of 80 members of your family. Ahmed is Senior Legal Research and Advocacy Officer at the Palestinian human rights organization Al-Haq. And just to be exact in my quoting of the Michigan Democratic Congress member Rashida Tlaib, the only Palestinian American in Congress, she posted on social media, quote, "The whole world is taking action to stop the genocide of Palestinians, including the International Court of Justice."
That's right.
Where is President Biden's red line?
He the one created
Next
it.
up,
He the one
May
flourished
is
it.
Asian American,
Don't you
Native,
remember him
Hawaiian,
saying,
and Pacific
don't
Islander
you remember
Heritage
the
Month.
asshole saying, we got to create a homeland for the, what is Zionists? Israel, a homeland. Remember that? Biden said that, so that means that he was involved even back in the first early days of his political in the day. So when it comes to him doing anything about it, he's not going to do anything. He's going to support it, the murder and the genocide of these people. This is the same thing they did to African people in what we call the transatlantic slave trade and the slave trade in general. So that was a genocide to begin with, because you ripped those families away from everyone in Africa that they were connected to and brought them here. And all you did was trap them here. And then after trapping them here, you discriminate, beat them down, and did every fucking thing you possibly can do to them in order to keep them down, just so they don't root. But this land that you brought them to is their land as well, because there were Africans here before you even got here, billions of years before you even had a Bible or Jesus Christ. And that's a fact. So while they're talking that bullshit, you better pay attention to the truth.
This is Asian American, Native Hawaiian, and Pacific Islander Month.
You know what I'm saying? So we know full well that this is a genocide in itself. No one is being fooled by anything that Jackass Yahoo thinks that he's getting away with in any shape or form. You know what I'm saying? While people are trying to hack onto my phone and every other thing they possibly can fucking do, rather than get a job, a house, a mouse, or something and stop the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? And spending time doing garbage as they sit around. You know what I'm saying? This is not something that is likely, because this is what caused what we see going on in the Gaza Strip to be going on in the first place. So we must now start to look at this from a brighter perspective. There is no way for us to sit here and just think that what is going on there was not created in any shape or form. Now let's take a look at some facts that we need to look at based on this jackass idiot calling himself, God's chosen people. Because when you look at the chapter of Exodus, as we see, as we look at the chapter of Exodus, that chapter, complete chapter, is another lying chapter in their so-called book. You are lying, mother, and you know it. Don't come with that bullshit. So let's examine what is going on in that matter of itself. You know what I'm saying? Now, when we look at Exodus, right? The very first thing you see in the chapter of Exodus is the coming of these so-called people calling themselves Israel. You know what I'm saying? So we know full well that the Egyptians are black. That without a doubt, we know that. You know what I'm saying? Which Egyptologists for many years tried to discredit. And so is the man Billy Carson, Bill nut butt sucking balls Carson, agent ass like some of these black ass niggas we know. You know what I'm saying? Sitting up there doing a bunch of bullshit spying for the bees. You know what I'm saying? So we know that they full of shit. You know what I mean? But when we look at Exodus in itself, we see the same bullshit. Now, when we look at Exodus, let's examine that. Now, it says in Exodus, you know what I'm saying? It says, now these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. This will give them the excuse to say that they were there for some reason or the other and had a right to be there. You know what I'm saying? They came, let's read it again. Now these are the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. You see how they write this lion-ass story? Each man to his household came with Jacob, Reuben, Simeon, Levi, Judah, and so forth on, Issachar, Zebulun, and Benjamin, Dan, Naphtali, Gad, and Issachar, those of who were descendants of Jacob. You see, using this Jacob story, you know what I'm saying, and saying that they're descendants of this, you know what I'm saying, it still doesn't say they had a right to be in Egypt at all. But listen to how they're going to turn the story around and try to make Egypt look like the criminal when they wrote the story in order to do criminal action, but giving them a spiritual spell of witchcraft and warlock and fucking satanic spells on the people's mind, using this as some form of way of saying they have a right to do what they're doing today. Now, when we go on from there, it says Joseph died. All his brothers and all that generation had passed away. You know what I'm saying? And Joseph was not an Egyptian or from Egypt itself. You know what I'm saying? But it says, but the children of Israel were fruitful and increased abundantly. This is the time during, let's go back to when the British, the French, the Ottoman Turks, the German, and everybody was rushing into to Africa, stealing, robbing, murder, and splitting up the land for themselves. This is how the Dutch even ended up in South Africa as well. You know what I'm saying? And many things, because they made the world believe that everybody in this fake-ass witchcraft book you call a Bible, you know what I'm saying, is white. That's why I keep asking niggas, if you're black, how is your God white? You know what I'm saying? And say they were fruitful and increased abundantly, multiplied and grew exceedingly. This is when this is when during that time, during the German war and during all of that, all of those people started migrating into Egypt from Germany and different places, because they had already been going through Africa and doing garbage anyway. You know what I'm saying? And then they wanted to create a homeland to give these people some type of validity, because the war that they created and the attack on the Jews itself was a set up a persecutor to say that they were being persecuted because of their so-called religion. No, it wasn't. They were over there doing witchcraft, devil worship shit, and Germany was the only one probably let them in, because they were no more than a wandering wanderer with them big stupid black hats and long black skirt wandering through a hot ass desert, because they know the sun would have burned their asses alive. You know what I'm saying? So this is where this coming, where he said they're fruitful and increased abundantly, you know, multiplied and grew exceedingly mighty. No, they did not. What they did, if that was the case, and all this was they still go back to the first chapter, and now the names of the children of Israel who came to Egypt. So somewhere along the line, and then he's saying they grew mighty. This is of course, because they were backed by the French, the British, you know what I'm saying, and the Ottoman Turks, and every other criminal, Cro-Magnon, Neanderthal, booty scratching caveman, monkey looking ass, which he is. You know what I'm saying? Now arose a new king. See how they begin to. Now here's where they're going to try to demonize Egypt in all ways. You know what I'm saying? Now in chapter 8, they said, now there arose a new king over Egypt who did not know Joseph. You know what I'm saying? It's a lying story, so bear with me. You know what I'm saying? And he said to his people, look at the people and the children of Israel. They were not from there. And furthermore, I doubt that the name Israel belongs to them, Netanyahu as well. Ain't no more than a Kazakh fucking gypsy. Now, see, and a crook, and a devil worshiper, a blood sacrifice, a child sacrificer, and many other things. That's why he do not mind killing and beheading children and all type of nastiness. Now you will be beginning to see the long hand of Baphomet satanic beast worshippers. So beware of what we're talking about and look into it as well. You need to do the research. And he said, and he said to the people, look, the people of the children of Israel are more and mighty than we. That's a fucking lie. First of all, come, let us deal shrewdly with them. See how they're beginning to demonize Egypt? And using a biblical so-called religious God fearing, oh I love you book, and then sitting in here and saying this bullshit at the same time, saying come, let's deal shrewdly with them, let they multiply, and it happened. And in event of war, listen, in event of war, that they also join enemies, which they did. This is just a story that they wrote in order to give them validity in saying that Egypt, persecuted them and treat them bad and made them work for them, and then slide in that bullshit that they were doing, building and this and that for the people. You know what I'm saying? So we know full well that this story of Exodus might be a complete lie in itself, rewritten by beastly people who are not Egyptians, who are not Africans, and have nothing to do with it at all. But in order to give justification to it, they wrote this book, you know what I'm saying, that you call a biblical Bible. So as we move on, it says there they set taskmaster over them to inflict them with their burden. That's another lie. You better go to Germany where Hitler was killing their ass for sacrificing that little boy child, that there's a tomb over there that they built for the little boy who they sacrificed and killed. That's what caused the Germans also to jump on their neck. Not only that, they were also making the people in Germany, the bankers and different people, they were also taking over the banking system by making them sign these Luciferian contracts and doing blood worshiping and following behind Madame de Blavatsky and Alice Crowley and all types of bullshit that were going on, because she came from Ukraine and she also influenced them as well. So while they was in Germany doing the bullshit that they were doing, taking over the banking system, sacrificing little children, and doing satanic worship on the ground, they killed that little boy and they found out about it, and the German people damn near annihilated their ass. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, also, they had already took too much involvement in taking over the banking system, and this bothered a lot of the Germans as well. You know what I'm saying? So at the same time, you had Marxists, socialists, you had fascism, you had all type of different isms and schisms, just like you see here in this country, you know what I'm saying, in Germany going on. But the Jews was controlling the banking system. Now the Rothschilds or the Rockefellers, you know what I'm saying, and the Rothschilds and the Zionist idiots or whoever they call themselves is, you know what I'm saying, also wanted to control the banking system, and they went over there and told them to, this and that and that. And they said no, because they were over there sacrificing little children, doing all the faggot shit they do, saying killing kids and shit. And they said no, because they were living higher on their hog, I guess. And when they didn't agree to letting Rockefeller and them take over their shit and buying their asses into the banking system, the World Bank and all the IMF and all that other shit they were going on with, they said no. He said, well, okay, I'll leave and then I'll come, but beware, and then when he left, he said, okay, you don't want to come in now? And they sent Hitler. They grew him from a baby and grew him into this whole nonsense that they're talking about. So we know for well, because even when you look at chapter 12, it says, but the more afflicted them the more they multiplied. That's the bullshit. The more they invaded, you mean. You know what I'm saying? There was no multiplication or any justification, even coming from even the Bible, the book before, you know, in Genesis and all of that. You know what I'm saying? All of that, to me, is another set of lies. You see what I'm saying? So we know that they're full of shit. You know what I'm saying? As we see. So we keeping a close eye on everything that they possibly think that they can do in order to, you know what I'm saying, do what they do. You see what I'm saying? To do what they do. But they're not fooling anyone. So while they're talking that good old bullshit, we on their neck.